Welcome to this little screencast where I want to show you why e17 rocks and why even the Linux Action Show should care about it. So this is the stock e17 configuration after I just ran through the assistant, which allows me to set my language and my keyboard layout and connection manager and so on. And yeah, this is basically the normal layout, and I want to show you what makes e17 so special in contrast to OpenBox or Fluxbox. And one thing you notice already, I think, is the desktop icons, or more desktop icons, so the desktop icons. So the desktop icons reveal a file manager, so if you double click the home folder, for example, it will open up a basic file manager which has bookmarks on the left and the files on the right. And if I just double click on a folder, it will open up in a new window, but this behavior can be changed also to have a classic behavior with a browsing-like experience, just like in the web browser. So to show you this, first of all, let's go to the shelf that you see, or the panel that you see on the bottom. It's basically called shelf, and it normally comes with a plugin for the main menu, which is also accessible just like in normal window managers, by left clicking on the on the background, and you will have access then to applications that are installed. It's by the way using the XGG standard, so it's also possible to grab the menu layout from LXDE, from GNOME, from KDE even. So if you have them, you can just switch the menus to this one, and it will then just simply load the menu configuration from KDE, from LXDE, or whatever you want. You can navigate through your file systems also very quickly. Just let me go to my public folder. Very easy, very nice. We have run everything here. This is one thing that I want to show you later. We have take screenshots here. We have the option to switch to various different virtual desktops. As you can see, I'm on virtual desktop 3-0. I can set virtual desktops if I want to have more. I have shelves. Shelf is the one on the bottom. It's also called panel. We have the option to switch between windows. As you can see here, there are no windows open. I can clean up windows, which is also a cool feature. Let me show you this. If I'm having few windows open, I have a mess of windows now. If I left click on my desktop and go to Windows and then on clean up window, you can see it will just reorganize those windows so that all windows are visible basically, and you can have a better view of all the windows in an overview mode, which is pretty nice, pretty cool. This works normally for all windows. Then you have the lost windows feature, which is also if you have some lost windows. For example, GIMP tends to, if you have multiple windows in GIMP open, to lost some windows and that aren't visible in the taskbar or task thingy. Then we have about enlightenment. In this case, you can see that I'm running not the latest build, but one of the earlier builds, but one of the latest snapshots, which is pretty stable and runs pretty fine. Then you have the settings menu, which I will come to later, and you have the system menu where you can lock your screen, where you can log out, suspend, hibernate, reboot, or power off. You can also click in this menu, which will reveal a normal log out dialog basically. So let's go to the bottom panel. The bottom panel consists of the menu that I've showed you already, the virtual desktop switcher, pager, application switcher, which allows you to switch between minimized windows. Just for example, let me just minimize this window. You can see it will go down in here, and you can then just maximize it again. Pretty nice, pretty good. We have an application launcher. In this case, you only see one icon. I don't know why. Where you can start the Enlightenment File Manager, for example. You can start Firefox and some other things here. Then you have the brightness control for controlling your brightness on your laptop, for example. You have a temperature control. Oh, this is the VirtualBox control. By the way, it's running in the VirtualBox. You have a temperature control, you have a CPU thread control, you have a power, battery power viewing stuff in here. You have a clock, which you can, by the way, tweak, and you have a calendar, of course, here. If you click on setting up, you can set up an analog clock. You can set it the day. You can set which day is the starting day, Saturday or Sunday or whatever. of a weekend or of a week, and so on. You have a mixer in here where you can also have separate channels to move them up and down. The slider, which is pretty nice, and you have a configure option which allows you to set those in here. And pretty nice, pretty good mixer, working very good with ALSA, and even pulse audio. And then you have on I think the red one is the connection manager. I don't have a connection manager right here running. This is because I don't compile it. And you have the option to switch between different keyboard layouts. So this is a keyboard indicator, which is currently not configured, as you can see here. Therefore, it's only showing you a question mark. So let me just go into configure mode. So in the settings, you have various different settings. You have settings for setting wallpapers, which by the way has a cool feature. If you click on advanced, you have the option to set the desktop wallpaper for each virtual workspace. So if I click on this desktop and I click on system to reveal a few of the wallpapers, you can see I can just, for example, have in here lake grass, which is cool. Then let me switch to another desktop. Let me bring this window to another desktop just by dragging to the left. And as you can see, it's switching the desktop, and I can then set another wallpaper in here, just for example this one here. So I have this one on my desktop 2, desktop 3 in this case. Go to another desktop and set the wallpaper to Skywall or something like this. So in this case, you can see I have very good customization options in setting various different wallpapers. And they switch very easily with a nice effect, transition effect. You can turn this off or on just like you want to. Then you have application theme, which is pretty nice. You can set a GTK theme here. For example, if you're running many GTK applications, this is normally a very good way to set the GTK theme. Let me set it to Advaita in here, which is the standard theme for GTK 3 and 2. Which is pretty nice. I have also the option, by the way, setting the GTK icon theme. So let me set this to Fianza here, and let me enable icon theme for Enlightenment, so that Enlightenment, so the e17 window manager, would also use this theme, and you will see that then now it just looks a lot prettier. So the icons appear here in my quick launcher, and on the desktop itself, let me get to the icons in here. You can see it has beautiful icons now. So we have the option to set a theme. You can see there are various different themes that I've installed in here, and you can import themes, you can get themes online and so on, which is pretty nice. You have the option to change colors if you want to, for the window border title and so on. You have the option to set fonts. You have the option to set different borders, so border styles, the default one, the dialog style and so on. You have the option to set the transitions, as I said before, for starter, for desktop change, for background change. So if you don't want to have this little swiping effect for desktop change, just go to background change and click on none, hit apply, go to another desktop. You can see it's still appearing. Might be the desktop changing effect, or you have to restart. Now it's working. You can see it was the desk change thing that I have to turn off to not having this crossfade effect or swipe effect. You have a scaling effect, which is really nice. If you have a very small screen or something like that, want to scale the applications, you can do that. You have the startup animation. You can change this if you want to. So pretty customizable in the optical way, I would say, in the visual way, but also for the apps you have many different options in here. You have personal application launchers that you can create, so desktop files basically, as you can see, with icons, with general options, generic name, window class, categories, MIME types even. So this is basically a full-featured desktop creation tool for creating .desktop files. We have favorite applications that you can set if you want to. So those favorite applications are available via a right click on your desktop. So if I right click, normally those will appear. So let me just set in here. As you can see, it detected all the applications that I've installed. Let me set Audacious, Big Word, and a render. as favorites, hit apply, close, right click on my desktop, and as you can see I have now quick access to those applications. I have iBar applications, and those are the ones you see down in here. So this one, this plugin is called iBar, and as you can see I have the eFile Manager, Firefox, Mozilla Thunderbird and Terminology in there. I have screen lock applications, so if I want to show my latest emails, my latest stuff in the screen lock, I can just turn them on here. If I want to, the same goes for screen unlock applications. So if I unlock my screen and I want applications to automatically start, I can do this in here. I have restart applications, so if I restart my my program here, I can have them in here. I have startup applications, which is, by the way, normal auto start. As you can see, I have Network Manager running here in the auto start, and some other daemons in here, and update notifier and so on. You have default applications that you can set, just for example browser, email, file, trash, terminal, and some general stuff in here. You can see the general map times that you can set for the file manager, which will then recognize those map times and will open up the applications. You have some desktop environment settings, just like for example GNOME, services that you can load, or KDE services that you can load. Screen settings, the many settings, as I said. Virtual desktops, you can set many different virtual desktops. As you can see, you have also a preview for the desktop wallpaper in here. You can set up the flip animation to pane or zoom. You can set even an animation speed if you want to. You can change this vertically or horizontally to, I think, 12 by 12 virtual desktops. As you can see, many. You have screen resolution. You can set the screen resolution, really easy tool here. You have screen setup, very handy if you have multiple screens connected. You can then just, for example, say ask if I attach a screen, what to do with the screen, or just automatically load it right to the current screen that I have, or left or below, or clone the display, or no reaction at all if you don't want it. You have screen lock. You can lock the screen on startup, or lock on suspend, or something like this if you want to. We have login box. Lock on startup would mean that if you have auto login enabled for your login manager, for example, or you don't have a login manager at all, running it straight from StartX, you can have login automatically, so it will ask you for your password. You have a login box here that can show on all screen. You have timers and some other presentation mode, even very nice, and you can even set the wallpaper for the lock screen. You have screen blanking that you can set in here for blanking the screen. This is very nice because this also has a presentation mode. So if you are holding a presentation, just right click on your left click on your desktop and go to setting modes, and here you can see there's a presentation mode, and if you click on presentation mode, it will automatically turn off screen blanking and screensavers and so on. And you have also an offline mode, which will automatically turn off all Wi-Fi if you have Connection Manager enabled. Very nice, very handy, very cool. Also very nice if the blanking turns on and you're perhaps reading a book or a new article on Linux Action Show, for example, or you're watching Linux Action Show, and you don't want the screen to blank. You move your mouse or something like this, a nice pop-up turns on, which will ask you, do you want to deactivate the screen blanking, or do you want to raise the time before the screen blanks? And this is pretty nice. This is simply convenient thinking, I think. And this is really nice that they did it. You have a backlight, for example. As you saw now, this is exactly the dialog that comes up. So would you like to enable presentation mode or temporarily disable the screensaver, lock and power save settings? So this is what you want, what you can set in here. And I want to enable presentation mode. Now we are in presentation mode. You can see this also by left clicking in here. Go to settings, modes. You can see presentation mode is now on. You have Windows settings. You have some very different curious Windows settings, like displaying them, like Windows focus. As you can see here, my Windows focus is now following the mouse, so I want to click to focus to be activated. You have some advanced settings in here, stacking windows, placing windows, and so on. Window geometry, window list menu, window remember. So you have specialties like, for example, the mixer. If you want special windows to appear without window border, something like this, you can all set it up in here. If windows aren't proceeding anymore, applications, you can kill those processes if they aren't closable. So this is all possible in here. You have menus, very interesting menu settings. You can go set the menu, just like, for example, list favorite, list applications. If you don't want to list applications, you can disable it in here. Application display should display the name and generic name, or the comments even if you want to. And you have the applications menu that you can choose from. Normally it will choose the Enlightenment default, but I also have the LXD applications installed. I can switch to it, hit apply, and after an Enlightenment restart, also very nice feature, you can restart the window manager without closing any windows or something like this. I just hit restart here. So it just restarted, as you can see here, and by the way, also notifications are available, as you can see here on the top right corner. And what I can do now is just go to, for example, language. You have some language settings in here. You can set your various different languages in here. You have input method settings, as you saw earlier. You have advanced settings like signal bindings. So what happens if I just double click with the mouse on the title bar or something like this? So you can, even if I click on the icon in here on the left side, I can choose what to do, what to show. Very nice, very handy, as you might know. We have the syscon, which is the little dialog that pop-ups to log out or to shut down the computer. You have the performance. You can set the performance to the frame rate to 60 frames per second, the application's priority, the caches. So you can tweak everything in here. The edgy caches for special edgy files. You can set the engine in here, power management settings, as you can see here, for min and max power management levels in here. You have a battery meter, configure environment, input method, edge bindings, key bindings, mouse bindings, ACPI bindings, touch bindings, even if you want touch screen support mouse and keyboard. You have launches, the Everything launcher, which I will show later, and we have also profiles, which is pretty nice. I have already created a profile, so let me go to this profile. Hopefully it will work. It's the let's go to the Snow Classic profile in here, which looks like this. And as you can see here, this profile stores not only the configuration, the wallpaper, but also the panel configuration and the theme. As you can see here, I'm using a different theme now, which looks just like, well, resembles somehow the KDE theme. And as you can see here, it also stored the configuration file for the file manager, which now has a top bar with breadcrumb navigation and also the normal browsing navigation, as you can see here, which should work pretty fast and pretty good. You have the option to set some favorites, just like pictures folder, dragging it in here. Now I have pictures in here. Very nice, very good, very smooth, very cool. So these are the settings, and let me show you one pretty nice thing also, which is pretty cool. Extensions. So extension support is just like in KDE, I would say. So you have dozens and dozens of modules that you can here enable and that you can play with. One thing that you might notice is that I don't have a taskbar in here. So if I want to enable this taskbar, just right click in here and go to contents, and then I can just set a taskbar. And now you can see I have a taskbar. Right click in here, click on, right click here, taskbar, click on begin moving gadgets, so I can move it now around in my shelf. As you can see here, stop moving gadgets, and now I have a cool looking taskbar. I have various different plugins to have to show me tasks in my taskbar. Basically, I have system tools like Bluetooth Manager, Connection Manager, CPU Graph. Just let me load this, and then also one very nice thing is going to settings and then going to gadgets, you have the option to place gadgets on the desktop, just like for example the CPU graph that I loaded just right here. Add the gadgets, you can see now it's now on the desktop. I can then just make it a little bit bigger, move it where I want to on the desktop, just for example here, right click, and it's just moved, and you can see that it's now showing the CPU percentage of what I'm doing right now. I have the option just, for example, places, menu, gadget, which allows me to see various different mounted or unmounted applications, or not applications, disk space and disks, just like for example in this case it's running from a live CD, so it's showing the live CD in here. I can click on it and it will open up the file manager and we'll go to in this case the live CD. As you can see here, I have various different others, just like for example a clock, so just like in KDE I can have my analog clock in here, make it a little bigger, stick it in here. Also have the option with right click to set some settings, and I can also set it to be digital if I want to, just like then I have just like in the panel a digital clock, in this case with seconds instead of only the minutes. So this is also pretty nice. Let me get back to the multiply here. I have analog clock back. There are other things that I can also set on the desktop. There are many widgets, as you can see in here, and there are many cool widgets, just like for example the look. I have now drop shadow available, but I can also enable compositing. So if you want to have a compass-like experience with translucency effects and wobbly windows and so on, you can enable compositing. I will not enable this here because I had 2 screencast crashes while enabling this, but there are some other effects, just so for example that I can load that don't crash normally. The fire, which brings you a fire on the bottom on your screen, very nice. Rain, which brings you rain on your screen, and cloudy clouds, pretty nice effect. And penguins, of course everyone loves penguins, doesn't you? Don't you love penguins? So you can see penguins are falling down, and they're falling on the windows, and if I move the windows they're falling down again. Pretty nice, and they all also die and then fly up in the air or just go to hell. You have some file options, just like here, places menu that I have already enabled in here. You have the launcher, the everything starter, I will show you right now currently. You have some settings. You also have the option to disable, you have modules for settings, so for setting dialogues. So if you want to have crazy new settings, you can enable them. But also if you have very, very detailed settings for very complicated stuff, you can just disable them so that the normal user just don't care or don't mind. You have mobile settings, just like for example a whole mobile user interface, which is also available, and as a profile that you can start and work with. It's called Illume, with its own virtual keyboard and so on, and the other settings that you can set in here. So let's go to the everything launcher, because this is one of the coolest things I ever saw. This is the GNOME Do, or Unity, how it's called, the Unity, I don't know how it's called. What happened if or if you press the Windows key or the super key on a keyboard, this overlay that just opens up on Unity or GNOME shell. You have the best launcher available in e17. So just let me hit Alt and Escape, and you will see that, Alt and Escape, and you will see the launcher. Normally you have categories now in here, which are program categories where I can choose with my keyboard basically what I want to go, in which category I want to go. And you can see I have Audacious and GNOME M Player. I can go back, so I can navigate through it just like a normal menu, but I can also type the application name that I want to launch. Just for example, Firefox. Type it, and as you can see, if I can type correctly, it shows Firefox in here, but also has the option with the tab key to launch it, to open the file, to edit the application entry of Firefox if I want to add a new application entry, or to run it with sudo rights. So this is also pretty nice, pretty handy, pretty fast to use. And you also have a plugin, for example, for Pidgin. So if you have Pidgin running and you have various different contacts and you want to just hit Alt Escape, enter the contact name, and then enter a message to him, you can then just send it just through the Everything Starter. The Everything Starter has also a pretty nice interface for switching between windows, open windows. For example, the settings window is open. As you can see here, it's showing me this. I have the places option in here, which allows me to see my various different places, like the home directory. I can go into the home directory, surf through it here without opening the file manager, and even start applications, even start files in here, watch some wallpapers, for example. I don't have any in here, as you see. This is pretty nice, this is pretty handy. There are also other viewing options, just like, for example, in the applications menu, you have a normal menu here where you can view the system tools and so on, just like in the menu, normal menu. You also have the option to search YouTube. So if I can type correctly, I have the YouTube option in here and can search YouTube, just like, for example, for Linux Action Show. And it will show me automatically what it found for the Linux Action Show. I think the Triskel GNU Linux review from season 23, episodes 5 in this case. And I can click watch on YouTube, or hit tab, watch on YouTube, click on it, and it will automatically launch my web browser and then go to YouTube to this particular video. I can also, if I want to, in the file manager, also connect this to an M player or a VLC player. It will then automatically go and grab the data from the M player and will show you it in the M player. In this case, I don't have the Flash player installed, so it is not showing it up, but it works. This is pretty cool. This is one of the finest launcher, very fast, very good. It just simply does everything. Even if you type in, for example, want to calculate something like 2 plus 2, because 2 plus, where's the plus sign? 2 minus 2, 2, where's the minus sign? Different keyboard layout, damn it, there's the minus sign. And I can normally you can calculate also here. I have the wrong keyboard layout set up, set, and so I cannot type in correctly, but you have to believe me, it works. And there are even other plugins that you can enable through the settings. Let me go back to the settings, to the launcher. In here you can see you have the everything configuration, and here you can have plugins, and you have the star plugins, application, Pidgin, files, places, X above. You can just Wikipedia, for example, search on Wikipedia, Google, YouTube, playlists. So if you have a media player that supports Empress, so the communication protocol, which I think every media player nowadays supports it, you can control the playlist. You have a calculator, which I taught you before. You have a text plugin. So if I hit Alt F2 or Alt Escape, in this case, I can then just type in something, hello world, for example, click text, and then I can just Google search it, I can Wikipedia search it, copy the text to the clipboard or browser for translate this text if I want to. This is just so convenient. This is really, I found myself not using the mouse anymore, just hitting Alt Escape and then typing what I want to, and it just works. So this is pretty nice, and this is something that I wish for every other desktop environment, to have a cool thing like this. You have some action plugins, also open with actions, object plugins like places and so on. You can then just go in and configure them for applications. For example, you have the option to launch them with Xterm. You have the options to launch them with sudo, or the sudo guy in this GUI in this case, which allows you to execute applications as an administrator. Very nice. So this is not everything. There's still more to it. So the extensions allow you to do even more. You have the mixer that I showed you. You have the notifications that are very nice, that show you critical urgency messages and so on. You can set the location, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left, and so on. Use multiple monitor geometry, so it will then go, if you have a second monitor. Xinerama support, by the way, is also pretty nice, pretty awesome. Just you can switch virtual desktops on one display and without having an effect on the other display. Very, very nice. You have pages settings, you have gadgets which I showed you to place on the desktop, and you have then the normal preferences, which it grabs from the preference desktop files, so you can have software sources, for example, screensavers and so on, and system files also in here. One thing that I want to show you, which is not particularly an e17 feature, but it comes with e17 or it was developed for e17, is the application terminology, which is a terminal. And you would say, terminal, nothing new, but just look at the terminal. It just looks very cool. Let me go to the options and let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see a little bit more. And you can see from the options and from the behavior that it is a special terminal. So let me go to the options again, and you will see that there is an option for video. So this terminal has the ability to play video. It has the ability to show photos and text files and SVG files and whatever you want to, it can show. You have the behavior option, which allows you to set different behaviors in here, jump, visual bell, and so on. Just show me, let me show you the visual bell. It just looks like this. So very cool. A red blinking bell in here. Very, very nice done. So very, from design wise, very cool. You have some helpers that you can set here for email, for example, so it automatically detects email addresses and allows you to send emails. It detects images, video, as I said, URLs, of course, local images, local video that you can set in here, various different types to open those applications, to open those files with applications. You have a wallpaper that you can set, you have theme and so on. So very, very nice terminal. Let me show you the preview mode. Let me go in here. Where do I have? I think in either. Let me go to find user share icons. Let me list all the files in here. You have some PNG files in here, and if I just hover over this PNG file, if I just click it, you will see a preview. So how cool is this? And what a trivial thing to do, but no other terminal application has this feature. And this feature is so damn cool. If you just want to look at a file that you have edited, or a text file, for example, or a PNG file in your terminal, just click it, and you have it. You don't have to open the file in an external view or something like this. The same goes for video files or SVG files. I don't have SVG support, I guess. No, I don't have SVG support enabled, but for video files, I don't think I have video files in here. Normally it also works for video files, it works for audio files without any problem. You can set the various different backends that you can use here. For example, you have GStreamer, Xine, and VLC, which is the default, I guess. You can make it translucent, so you have a shining terminal right through it. So this is pretty nice. This is the coolest terminal I ever saw, and this is part of e17, or this is developed for e17 and shows the cool underlying technology in e17. So this was a short introduction into e17, and I think I made you pretty interested in e17. If you want to try out e17, there are snapshots available on the e17 sites. I would recommend for everyone, for a normal user, to either download the latest Snow Linux RC or final version if it's out, or download the Bodil Linux ISO, which contains also a very decent e17 version, pretty nice configured, and pretty nice themes and so on. So theming support is also very cool and pretty nice. So I think this is my dream desktop. If this becomes stable, I would say this is the desktop to use, the best desktop environment. And I call it a desktop environment because it's more than a window manager, because no OpenBox, no Fluxbox, no everything box does this kind of things with your desktop. So this is my little review of e17 and why even Linux Action Show should care about it. I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.